If you're getting any doubts, please ask me. So today's topic is regarding chromatography. As the name suggests, chromato stands for color. What does graphy mean? It's a representation, okay? A graph. How this color can be used to identify different types of molecules present within the sample. To introduce, we should know that all the biological fluids that we collect, okay, or we use to analyze contains different particles, different types of particles in them. So it is a complex mixture of different types of macro and micro molecules. Neither just for specific components, those are present in these fluids, often entail, okay, often include one or more sequential separation steps, either to isolate these components or to enrich the components so that it is easier to detect. Okay, so those form the basis of why we need chromatographical techniques. One second, I'll come back. Please hold on. Okay, so one of the reasons why we require chromatography is either detection of one or more components within the sample so that it can be isolated for further analysis, or to enrich these components in such a way that they are very easy to detect. So what are the common methods we can use for separation? This includes chromatography, then we have extraction, then we have differential precipitation, and then we have electrophoresis. Okay, we have separate techniques which can be used. The overall aim of these techniques is to get the separation of fluids that are present. Okay, these include mainly chromatography, that is what we are going to see in today's class. Another step called as extraction. Then there is a differential precipitation, which is not under interest for you. Okay, and electrophoresis that you have already studied. All right. So the basis of chromatography goes something like this. So initial description of this technique was given by a person called as Mikhail Sweat. Okay, in the year 1903. So it is already 100 years old. So this technique is not new. It was introduced a long time ago by a person known as Mikhail Sweat. Okay, and he was the person who came up with the name called chromatography. So the name is taken from Greek, where chroma and graphy means color, and to write, to represent the color or to display the color. So this is what chromatography stands for. So the definition goes something like this. It is a process where components of a mixture are separated by differential distribution between a mobile phase and a stationary phase. Okay, so here any sample that is supposed to be present is going to interact with two important components of chromatography. Number one, a mobile phase, and second one, stationary phase. Okay, so components with greater distribution into the stationary phase are retained and move through the system more slowly. Okay, so anything that has higher distribution value present in the stationary phase will be retained within the phase and will move through this chromatographic system more slowly compared to the ones where the movement is very fast. So that brings us to what is stationary phase then. Okay, so stationary phase. So before going into stationary phase, let us understand what is the meaning of the word phase. Okay, so phase means a distinct and homogeneous form of matter, which can be solid, liquid, or gas. Okay, so phase can be in any three of the states. It can be solid, it can be liquid, or it can be gaseous. Okay, So it is separated by its surface from other forms. So other forms of phases are separated, so it is independent here, which is homogeneous form of matter. So stationary phase here, if it is solid, then it's a porous material on which the mobile phase will pass. Okay. So stationary phase, what is a phase? It's a homogeneous form of matter, either solid, liquid, or gas. Okay. So it is separated from its surface from other forms. So stationary phase is one where the mobile phase will move. So stationary phase will not be moving, it will be fixed. So what is mobile phase? This is a phase which flows over the stationary phase during a chromatographic separation procedure. Okay. The mixture to be separated is usually dissolved in the mobile phase. Any sample that we want to separate, any molecules that are present in our sample that we want to separate will most likely be added into the mobile phase. So when mobile phase passes over the stationary phase, whichever component has the lower distribution factor will be retained in the stationary phase, other will move. Based on the difference in the distribution factors, distribution coefficient, we get the different molecules separated and displayed on the chromatographic procedure. Okay, so then how do we classify chromatography? Can be divided into planar and column types. So planar means the solid phase is coated onto a paper, okay, or bound to a solid surface. Okay, so what are these? The can be paper chromatography or thin layer chromatography. Those are the two topics that you are supposed to learn in this year: paper and thin layer chromatography. Okay, so what is a planar? The stationary phase is coated onto a paper in paper chromatography or bound to a solid surface in thin layer chromatography. Columnar stands for chemical stationary phase may be chemically bonded to support the particles. In this, there is a tube and the stationary phase is packed into the tube, or it may be coated to the inner surface of the tube. Okay. So how the alignment of stationary phase is seen, based on that, a chromatographical technique can be classified into planar and columnar. Planar means it is coated onto a paper. It can be horizontal, thin layer, it can be horizontal as well. Columnar, here there is no coating, there is packing of stationary phase into a column which is supported by a tube. Okay, so in some cases we also see stationary phase being coated to the sides of the tube. So this is a graphical representation of the classification. We see on the left we have planar, where paper and thin layer chromatography column, and there is gas chromatography and liquid chromatography. So what we see here is planar is mostly for the solid type of stationary phase, while column can be used for gas and liquid type of stationary phase. Okay, then there is another classification based on the different phases. Okay, we have paper chromatography, thin layer chromatography, gel filtration, ion exchange, affinity, gas liquid, and HPLC. Okay, so different type of classification we can classify our chromatographical technique, and base it on either on the stationary phase or the use of the solid media that is there. So today's topic brings us to paper chromatography. So far, any questions? So continuing on, that is the topic for our class today. Is the first type of chromatography is paper chromatography. It is a type of planar chromatographical technique in which paper is the support for the stationary phase. We had seen, based on the type of media we use as our support base, we can classify chromatographical techniques. One of them is when it is paper. Okay, so it is called as paper chromatography. That's a type of partition chromatography technique. Okay, so it can also be a liquid chromatography. See, these words and all are creating a bit of a confusion, I understand, but it is very important because you are not studying all the chromatographical techniques. So wherever this paper chromatography comes, that needs to be included. Okay, it can be part of your planar chromatography, it can part of your partition chromatography or liquid chromatography as well. So in this case, The solid support is paper on top of which, on the surface of which, stationary phase is constructed. Okay, so please understand this. In paper chromatography, the paper is support. It is not the stationary phase. Paper is the solid support on top of which stationary phase is going to be constructed. So what type of stationary phase we are going to use? So different papers can be used as stationary phase. Okay. So for the solid support, we either use Wattman paper number 1 or 3. Then we can also use diethyl amino ethyl cellulose or carboxymethyl cellulose, etc. as our stationary phase. All these layers of either DEAE or CM is coated onto the paper which forms the solid phase. The coated layer, when it is coated onto the solid phase, forms the stationary phase of the technique. The mobile phase, the phase which is going to pass over the stationary phase here, is most commonly liquid in nature because it needs to flow. Okay, gas we cannot do it in planar because gas has a tendency to move upwards. Okay, so we are using liquid here. Either we can use a solvent for single or mixture of solvents. Okay, we can use either one organic solvent as our mobile phase or a mixture of solvents as our mobile phase. A solvent system is also required. Okay, so what is this solvent system? A mixture of organic solvents, water, and various additives. So what happens generally is when the solid mobile phase passes over the stationary phase, mobile phase will contain the sample which we need to separate. Okay, due to the coefficient, we'll see what is that. There is separation of the molecules that are present within the sample, and these samples needs to stick on to the stationary phase. Without this sticking on, what happens is when we wash and remove the mobile phase from the paper, there is a chance that these separated molecules can be flushed out. If they are flushed out when we dye, it is impossible to detect them. So you need a type of additive which will make sure that these separated molecules get attached to the stationary phase and remain within the chromatographical technique when further steps are performed. Okay, so we commonly use ethyl acetate pyridine is to water in the ratio of 2:1:1, which gives us a very good mobile phase. Okay, for separation. Now what is the principle behind paper chromatography? Okay, so it is based on the principle of partition of a compound between two phases. When one compound is exposed to a phase where which is flowing and one is stationary, because of this interaction, okay, between two phases, partition happens. So breakdown of this happens, of the sample happens, and we get various components within that sample in the stationary phase. So in paper chromatography, when the mobile phase moves over the along the paper, the components of the loaded mixture distribute themselves between two phases. Okay, so this distribution depends on the ratio characteristic of their distribution coefficient. I told you what is distribution coefficient, I'll see it later. So based on the distribution coefficient, what happens to the sample, components that are present in that sample, which is loaded onto the mobile phase, will distribute itself into between two phases. Okay, so the ratio, how does it distribute itself? It depends on the distribution coefficient. The mobile which is more soluble in stationary phase will move slowly, while component which is more soluble in mobile phase will move fast. So this mixture of components will have different components in them. The sample has different types of components. One is more soluble in stationary phase, one is more soluble in mobile phase. Whichever is soluble more in stationary phase will move slowly during the process. The one which is more soluble in mobile phase will move faster. Okay, as a result, there is a differential movement. Components get separated. Okay, so what is the principle here? It is basically, the overall principle is partition of a compound between different phases. So what are the different phases here? Stationary phase and mobile phase. So mobile phase is liquid, stationary phase is solid. So The sample that we have to separate will be loaded onto the mobile phase. When this mobile phase passes over our stationary phase, the component that are present in the mixture of mobile phase distribute themselves either in mobile phase or in stationary phase in the ratio based on their distribution coefficient. Okay, so whichever molecules that are soluble in stationary phase will move slowly and separate out at the end. The component which are more soluble in mobile phase will move fast and separate farther. As a result of this differential movement between stationary and mobile phase, the compounds present in the sample get separated. Okay, so that is the principle. Any doubt in the principle, Nick? So let's continue. All right. So that brings us to what is this distribution coefficient? Okay. Solubility of a solute in stationary phase divided by solubility of solute in mobile phase gives us distribution coefficient. Okay. So let us say for X molecule, the solubility unit in stationary phase is 1, and for Y, for the same in mobile phase, it is 0, not 0, let's say it is 1. So based on this interaction, we get a distribution coefficient of 1. Okay, so anything that has higher distribution coefficient will move slowly. Okay, and it will separate out at the starting point of chromatography. The one which has low coefficient, distribution coefficient, it will move very fast and it will end up at the other end of the paper. Okay, so let us understand the instrumentation. There is filter paper. The basic requirement for any filter paper we have seen we can use Wattman 1 or 3. So should have uniform flow rate, grain size and texture. So the aim of the filter paper or the base here is to provide something to the stationary phase so that there is smooth movement of molecules. Okay, so that smooth movement is ensured by having uniform flow rate, the sizes of the grains we see in the filter paper, and what type of texture. It should not be too smooth, it should not be too rough as well. So these filter papers are produced commercially by many chemical processes. So this leads to some of these chemicals remaining within the paper, which can act as impurities during chromatography. So these papers are washed sometimes to make sure that traces of these impurities will be removed from the paper and it does not affect the analysis. This goes to the mobile phase, the solvent system. It is prepared by saturating organic solvents with water. It cannot be just aqueous medium or the water itself. There are some organic solvents that we have seen, the ratio of 2:1:1 that we had seen earlier. So that is prepared. We have to make sure that several organic liquids incorporate only small amount of water. So that is very important here. Why we have to add water? Because many of these organic liquids will have little bit of water. So if you go for alcohol, it has only 1% of water. Okay, in such binary solution solvent system, polar components of the mixture fail to separate. Okay, so the idea behind this is only organic solvent and water. What happens if there are only two? The binary system, only if there are only two liquids in the solvent system, what happens? This leads to failure of separation of molecules. Require one more thing. Okay, in such cases, if third liquid is added, what is the third liquid? It can be either alcohol, acetic acid, HCl, etc., or basic components such as ammonia or pyridine is added, or a complexing agent is added to retain more water in the organic solvent. So different types of components are added to make sure that there is proper separation of the mixture. That is why generally three component solution solvent systems are usually used. Why is the reason we have to use three? Because of the binary. If you use only two, okay, so this leads to failure to separate. Now molecules may not separate. So we need three different components in our solvent system. Then we have spraying agents. Okay,
So if the components that are already having color may not require spraying agents. So what is spraying agents then? These are these are specific reagents that are used to locate colorless components. When there is a separation happening, we need to identify it and we need to visualize it so that we can see if there is proper separation or not, or if separation has happened by itself. So for this reason, we need to see it. Okay. So colored component is visible without adding any dye. If it is colorless, we require spraying agents so that it can be visualized. So what is the principle behind spraying agents? These reagents react with the components chemically and develop a color in the region where they are present. In whatever region they are present or wherever they are separated, they will react with the components and give a color. Okay. So methodology, you are not supposed to, it's not in, not the part, it's not in your syllabus, but anyways, why learn half and why leave half? So methodology, sample loading is a process where we add sample into the mixture. Here preparation of sample is very important. 1 to 2% solution is prepared in suitable solvent system. Okay, very important. Why? We are loading sample into the mobile phase, we're not loading the sample into stationary phase. A reference line is drawn at 2 centimeter from the edge of the paper, either at the bottom or at the top. A reference line is to be drawn. Distance from the edge of the paper is drawn and points of application are marked. Whenever we are adding any sample, we have to mark the point where we are applying. The solution of mixture under test is spotted either as a fine line or as a fine spot. Spotting is repeated 2 or 3 times. Okay, so either we draw a line, a very thin line or a very thin dot. Okay, so that is called as application of sample spotting. So once spotting is done, we have to repeat it 2 or 3 times to make sure the sample is being absorbed into the face. Okay, so developing, how to develop? So saturation of the paper strip happens when the sample loaded on the strip is hanged for some time in the chromatographic jar containing solvent, but without dipping in the, just hanged. Okay, some vapors will go into the paper and make it saturated. The strip is developed by running the solvent through the paper. Now we connect the solvent system to our stationary phase, and because of the capillary action, the solvent starts to move from one area to another area. When this is happening, the strip is getting developed and the separation will start. Depending on the direction of the flow, there are two types of chromatography. Paper chromatography technique. We have ascending paper chromatography when the mobile phase moves from down to top, and we have descending paper chromatography where the mobile phase will move from top to bottom. Okay, so this is ascending chromatography. You can see, okay, so you can see a dot here, that is for spotting or adding sample. It is dipped in solvent system. Okay, so in this, it is, all these are hanged using a cotton string and make sure there are clips so that the paper remains uniform and does not move during the process. So it is all, this is happening inside a tank. Okay, so this is our mobile stationary phase. We have added the sample here. This will be our mobile phase. Due to the movement, the direction of movement will be from bottom to top. So when the mobile phase, the solvent system moves from bottom to top, we are calling it as ascending paper chromatography. Okay, so solvent moves upwards, ascends from the bottom to top by capillary action. The paper strip is placed vertically in the solvent, keeping the reference line above the solvent level. So this is our reference line. But to make sure this is above the solvent level. So idea is whenever solvent is moving, it will dissolve the components that are present and move it in this direction and separate it. Okay, if we keep it at the below the solvent line, what happens is it will dissolve into the solvent and proper separation will not happen. So whenever we are spotting, we have to make sure that spotting line is above the level of the solvent system. When we go into descending chromatography, it is ulta. Okay, so solvent will be on the top, so it is going to move from top to bottom, so it's called as descending chromatography, other remains same. We have spotting, we do it at the top step. Whenever we are hanging the paper in sending chromatography, we hang it ulta. The spotting line will be at the bottom. Here the spotting line or line of sample spotting will be at the top, and we turn it and we hang it ulta. Again, the idea behind this is very similar. So the solvent moves down, descends from top to bottom. The paper strip is vertically downwards. In ascending, it was vertically upwards. So in descending, it is vertically downwards from the trough containing the solvent system, keeping the spotted end at the top. The flow of solvent is faster here because something is moving from top to bottom compared to in ascending chromatography, paper chromatography, where the solvent system was moving from bottom to top. So this will be faster. The separation will be faster because of gravity compared to ascending. But okay, but we like to prefer ascending paper chromatography to descending paper chromatography because of only one simple reason. It is very easy to set up. Okay, it's very easy to set up. It's not that difficult compared to this one. So you just need a thread, hang the paper, and make sure the spotting line is above the solvent, compared to descending where so much things you have to take care. So the instrumentation is little complex in descending, so we try to use ascending as far as possible. Okay, so with that, we have arrived at the end of the class. Do you have any questions?